Hey, Chris from Codify Academy here. In this video, we're going to look at some more CSS selectors to try and find out what HTML elements they're going to style. I'll include a link to my GitHub for this code in the video description, so be sure to check it out. Now here's the site that we have built without any CSS, so keep this image in your mind as we go through. Okay, so now on to Atom. So here we have our first selector that I want to look at, but this is actually a little trick I want to share with you. We're going to give every single element background color, some border, we're going to change that font color, and add some padding and margin. So let's see how this is going to look. Pretty different than what it was, right? So every single element now has a border around it, the background's been changed, the font color's been changed, there's some padding and some margin, so we can actually see the space that every single element takes up. So now that we've seen every single element styled, I'm going to go ahead and copy this code and comment it out, and we're only going to apply those styles to the div elements. So we have quite a few divs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 total divs should be styled. Okay, so now let's look at those div elements. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it looks like half of those elements are being styled by the selector. Alright, now we'll just try it on the H4 elements. So we only have 2 here. So just 2 are styled. Next up, we'll try it on our image. And we have 1, 2, 3 total images. So 1, 2, 3. 3 images, 3 elements are styled. Right, so again, that is by element or by type. Now, you don't really want to use these, but you're going to see them a lot. You should not go to those first. You should always try to use this second one here, this class attribute. This is the easiest way to style an element. You apply class name, and our properties will apply. I think we have a couple here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements with that class. And just for fun, let's apply it to another header here. So we can see our H2 now is styled, and all those other elements that match get styled as well. Then we have the infamous ID attribute, right? Why do we use this thing? Who knows? Nobody really knows, right? Honestly, right now it doesn't matter. But just know that you can reuse the same ID attribute, just with different values. Okay. So this is not going to, well, this would technically apply inside of here. So let's move this out to, I don't know, this button right here. Okay, and we can see just that one ID is styled. Okay, cool. So let's do a few more combined selectors. Here we're going to find our images inside of any element with a class of box. So we have one that matches here. That one doesn't match, and neither does that one. So we should just have the one style. And again, gotta save. Don't forget to save. There we go. There's our one styled image. Again, we'll comment this one out. And we'll look at span elements inside of our ID attribute equal to CTA. So we have 2 spans here. We have a 3rd and 4th one. So if we look, we only have 2 spans being styled out of the 4. Right, because those other 2 just don't match this selector. Okay, let's try this H1, and inside of our div element, only one H1 is found inside of a div. Let's see, it is right here. Okay, and these last 2 are pretty tricky, and you should just try to avoid them completely. The longer the selector, the more pain in the butt it is. But what it's finding is our button inside of a div, inside of a div. So it's just going to find this button right here. We have a few other buttons, one here. We don't have one down there, and one here. And let's do one more button. Okay, so we have one inside of one div. How about inside of 3 divs? What if it's inside 1, 2, 3? Will that work? Well, I don't know. Let's put it below these though. Dun dun dun. We'll find out in a second here. If it's styled, that means it is. There it is, yes. So yes, it is nested inside of 2 divs, 1, 2, and that's it. Now we could change this. We could say .box as well. And we could see our 2 still applied. Yes, same thing, because both of those initial parent elements have a class of box. But what if we just did container? This one doesn't have a class of container. What if we tried that? Will they both still be applied? The answer is no. Just that one element is selected now. Okay, so we'll set this back. And our very last one. All right, we know this one's going to be specific because it has an ID. And it's only going to select this guy right here because it's found inside of a div, which is found inside of a container, which is found inside of a box. And if we look, just that one element is styled. Okay, so many different selectors, selecting many different elements, many different ways. Which one do you use? The easiest one is this class selector. Just use the class selector every single time. There we go. Container's been selected. Let's change this to a class. We'll add that in. .abc. Ooh, there it is. Nice and easy. So it's really, really fast just to add a class to an element and apply your properties that way. But again, we gotta know about these other ones because we're gonna see them. Okay, so that's it for now. Go ahead and check the video description for a link to my GitHub code.